humanity. Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Talking Politics. My name is Robert Press. I am a reporter. As you can see by my official New York City press card, I write for the Bronx Post and Park Justice Times. Both like this show are part of Muslim media. I also contribute to the Co-op City News. I have a blog at www.100%.blogspot.com, along with Facebook pages 100% and what is going on in your community board. The views expressed on this show are those of the host, any guest, or anyone who is commenting at the bottom of the screen, and not necessarily those of Muslim Media Corporation. A quick weather report. Today, Friday, will be clear with a high of 66. The 70s return on Saturday with a high of 70. On Sunday, the high gets to 73. And to start the work week off on Monday, it will be a high of 74 with all days with clear skies. Before I introduce my guest, Ms. Tina Forte, candidate for the 14th Congressional District. In 2018, I moderated the famous Park Justice Times 14th Congressional debate between former Congressman Joe Crowley and challenger Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. Crowley did not want to debate his then unknown challenger, Ocasio-Cortez, but I and others at Muslim Media convinced Crowley, who had been in the Bronx the day of the debate, at least to send someone to stand in for him. He picked probably the worst person in former City Councilwoman Annabelle Palmer, and the rest is history. It is the duty of elected officials to be accessible to the media and the people of their districts, so when people go to vote, they know what their representatives in office have done. By not wanting to debate her opponent, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez has become no better than any other elected official who does not want the voters to know what they are doing or not doing. My guest is candidate for Congress in the 14th District, Tina Forte, who 2 years ago received 35% of the vote. And with a presidential race, more people will come out to vote. So let me introduce my guest candidate for Congress, Tina Forte, and let her tell you why she's running. Take it away, Tina.
How you doing? Thank you for having me. Thank you, guests, for watching. I just want to let you know that it's a pleasure to be here. And yes, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on plenty of occasions had denied my request to debate her. She does not show up to meetings in the district. She sends a representative. I feel that is unacceptable. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a small business owner, and I am running because New York is in decline. There's too much government controlling us, and that needs to be stopped. We're a nation in decline, a state in decline, a city in decline, and a borough in decline. She does not care about the constituents of New York. I was born and raised here. I went to St. Francis de Chantal. I went to Preston High School. My businesses are in this district. I am the Bronx. And there are a lot of things going on in Queens as well. I walk the streets. I speak to constituents. I do not ask them if they're Republican. I do not ask them if they're Democrat. I just have a common sense conversation. And everyone is disgusted with the absence of AOC and what is going on in the deterioration of this borough and how she votes in Congress with her radical far left policies with the rest of the radicals in Congress. Now, I'm running at a federal level because I feel I have a stronger voice and I will hold people accountable for what they are doing to this district and to this country. And I want people to give me a chance. You give me a chance, you can fire me. I am pro-law enforcement. I want the border closed. I want more money in Americans' pockets, not illegal immigrants. They are destroying this borough. In Queens alone, in that borough alone, there are brothels across the street. And you want to know what? I know they're acting on it now, but it was too little too late. They took way too long to act on that. And I blame that directly on AOC and her open border policy. There was no reason for that. I went to one of her town halls. I stood outside very nicely in a suit with a microphone. I asked her to debate me. When she stepped outside the door, it was by Columbus High School. She called the police and she had the police escort her to her car. The very police she now defunded. She defunded them on us. We want the cuffs off our police and we want them on the criminals. That is unacceptable. I will withhold federal funding to anyone that supports sanctuary cities. I will push for that in Congress. I will push for my constituents to have a better life for themselves because our children are suffering on every level, whether it's what they're being taught in school, the year that they lost because of COVID and the mandates, the rules applied only for us and not for them. And it's a disgrace. And I'm an America First candidate. I will call rhinos out. I will call Democrats out. I will call everyone out.
Now, we had in the 13th Council District here in the Bronx a Republican elected for the first time in 40 years. Do you think that plus the fact that Donald Trump, who won the east side of the Bronx basically, or had a good part of the vote, do you think that those two factors could help you this year in beating Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
Yes, I do, because I'm down ballot. So if they come out to vote for Trump, they're going to vote for Tina Ford. They're not going to vote for AOC if they come out for Trump. So Trump making all his rallies here. He did the one in the South Bronx that the week before I walked with Reverend Diaz. We welcomed Donald Trump to the South Bronx. I was a part of that. With him coming here, making his presence here, people will come out and vote. He has a lot of love in New York. See, people don't want to shine a light on New York. They're afraid to because New York is so blue. I don't think it's as blue as everybody thinks. They just don't give us the time of day. And that goes for both sides. They just dismiss New York. And I'm here to say I will not allow anybody to dismiss New York, the Bronx, Queens, or any of the boroughs because we've been dismissed and put on the side long enough.
Now, I've reached out to the AOC campaign, Lauren Hilt, her campaign manager, a couple of times, and I've gotten no answer from her. So even the person who helped get her in office, basically from the Park Justice Times debate in 2018, she's not even coming on this show to talk. So I don't understand. Now, I understand you have a rally tomorrow. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I'm having a rally tomorrow. It's for the Proposition 1, which is vote no, turn over your ballot and vote no. I'm having that rally tomorrow to oppose actually AOC. They are coming to Morris Park area and they are going to be telling constituents to vote yes. I'm sure she won't show up, but she has people showing up. So I'm doing an opposition rally against her and whoever she sends out to vote no on Proposition 1. We do not want boys and girls sports. We do not want illegal immigrants voting in our elections. We don't want that. The Bronx is not for that. We are suffering.
Now, as far as the city of Yes goes, Mayor Adams is proposing that. AOC is in favor of it. What is your opinion of the city of Yes? Do we need all this additional housing?
No, we do not. I'm against that. I don't really have that much of a say. I could just, as a congresswoman, I could put pressure on local officials and I can withhold federal funding if I feel need be. Like if you make me sanctuary city, I will withhold federal funding. If you defund our police, I will withhold federal funding. Those are the things I would do. And I would stand up to anybody, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. I've been running my campaign as a grassroots campaign. I did not receive $1 from the army. I don't get any recognition from the New York State Party. Only my local chairmen are supporting me. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I feel that they don't want me to win. They don't want me to win because they know I'll be a strong voice and I'll pull everybody. And we're suffering because of it. And the people need to give me a chance because I'll fight for every single one of you.
Now, what are you doing this year that you didn't do 2 years ago to get the extra 60 or 15% plus one vote? Because you need only 50% plus one vote.
Right.
To win.
Well, what happened 2 years ago was I was not the endorsed candidate. With the redistricting, the primary was pushed to August 23rd. So I did not have a lot of campaign ground to cover because I had to win my primary. So this time around, I started earlier. I have more volunteers. I have a headquarters. I did not have a headquarters before. I have a big, beautiful headquarters. And I did.
Where is that located?
It is 943 Morris Park Avenue. You can come by and visit me anytime. Can I turn the phone around to show my signs?
Whatever you want.
I have beautiful signs and flags in the office. You can see. I have a lot of materials, posters for stores to put in the windows. I actually made posters for other candidates that did not have materials because I'm looking to help all the down ballot candidates, all the Republican candidates, conservative candidates. I have both lines this time. The last time I did not have a conservative line because the person that I beat in the primary, I will not name his name, refused to get off the conservative line. So I am on the street more. I've had a longer time to reach constituents and everyone is disgusted. Everyone I speak to, They're disgusted with AOC because she does not show up for her district. She rubs elbows with the elites. That's all she does. She's worth $30 million in 4 years. But there's something wrong with that.
Well, can you tell us, though, what you would do different that she's doing right now? Because I know that she's taken a big loss in the loss of former Congressman Jamal Bowman, or soon-to-be former Congressman Jamal Bowman.
Yes, I was at that rally. I went to that rally that she had in the Bronx. There weren't even Bronx people there. I was questioning them. I was working the line that day with Brandon Straka, and she had them bust in. She had them bust in. They weren't even from the Bronx or Queens or from the boroughs. But what I would do different is I would listen to the people. I'm not far left. I'm not far right. I'm a common sense mom. I'm a grandma. It's common sense. You just want what's right for the people. The decisions belong to we the people. We don't have to answer to them. They have to answer and work for us. And that's the problem that's going on. AOC thinks she's too big and too popular to come and shake hands with her constituents. She's too busy at Met Galas and doing her far left policies from her special interests, which she takes a lot of money from. And I'm not like that. You can't buy me.
Now, I know the Conservative Party Chair, Patrick McManus, is doing a lot for you this year.
Yes.
That wasn't there last time.
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to say to Patrick to thank him for all of this? Or
Absolutely, Pat, you have been a rock. Me and you have come a long way, and I appreciate all you do, and you are a man of your word. And everyone, Pat McManus is great. He's amazing. The things that he does is amazing. How he brings everyone together is amazing. And that was one of the reasons why I got this headquarters, and I put the Bronx GOP and the Conservative Party on it to unite the Bronx and to say we are strong. We have strength in the Bronx. Do not dismiss us because we're coming for everyone's seat this year.
And before I go to a commercial, I just want to ask you about your presidential candidate. How much are you backing Donald Trump? And when he wins, and when you win, how will you work together?
I will definitely work with Donald Trump because I am an America First candidate. I back him 1,000%. I was at every one of his rallies. I do the MAGA drags, which is the car rallies. I do the boat parades. I do the flag. I'm the flag drop girl. I am a Donald Trump supporter, 1,000%.
But I mean, because it seems that Joe Biden dropped out of the race after a debate with Donald Trump, and it seemed
That's
that
a threat to democracy. They want to say that we're threats to democracy because of Donald Trump, and they paint us as far right. That's not true. They just placed Kamala there. She didn't get one vote in the primary. They just put her there. She didn't get one vote.
And even the liberals or progressives said that J.D. Vance won the debate of the vice presidential candidates. So, I mean, maybe that's why AOC doesn't want to debate you. I have no idea. And I invite AOC to come on the show here before election time so we can have a discussion of what she's done during her 6 years in office and why she won't debate you. So,
yes, I would debate her.
Any final words?
Go to fireaoc.com. You can sign up to volunteer for me. You can come to my office. I'm always here. I have Tuesdays with Tina from 4 to 7. You can walk in the office, have a cup of coffee with me. It doesn't matter what side you're on. I'll answer all your questions, and I'll always be here for you. So please give me a chance. Come out and vote. Everyone needs to vote. This is an important election. We need to save our country. We need to save New York. New York is ground zero. We are ground zero in this battle.
I want to thank you for coming on the show, Tina. I wish you the best of luck in this election. Hopefully we may get a new congresswoman like we had in 2018. Yes. And let me go to a commercial now. So when I come back, I can get to the rest of politics that are happening, including where did that $400,000 the Bronx Democratic Party went. So let me go to a commercial right now. Thank you.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer. This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely convince you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official launch of the Bronx Post, your premier source for news and information in the Bronx. As the CEO of Muslim Media Corporation, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Bronx Post, our latest endeavor dedicated to serving the vibrant and diverse community of the Bronx.
Oftentimes, mainstream media portray this county in the most negative way possible, all because Bronx continued to be judged in the 70s and 80s when Bronx was burning. Today, as we enter the small business month of 2024, Muslim Media Corporation is proud to announce the formation and the creation and establishment of a new newspaper that will cover the entire Bronx, continue to highlight the new Bronx, the new realities and the new developments and the new attributes of the Bronx. Some things that are not being covered by, again, our mainstream media. Bronx Post, the first county-wide newspaper to be published by Muslim Media Corporation that has already been publishing Parkchester Times.
We aim to be your trusted source for information. We believe in the power of journalism to inform, inspire, and unite communities. With the Bronx.
Okay, welcome back. Let me go into the Middle East first. It appears that Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, mastermind of the October 7, 2023 attack that triggered the Gaza war, has been killed by Israeli forces in Palestine. Israel said on Thursday the killing occurred during a ground operation in the city of Rafah in southern Gaza, during which Israeli troops killed 3 militants and took their bodies. Israeli radio said his killing marks a huge success for Israel and a pivotal event in a year-long conflict. U.S. President Joe Biden spoke to Netanyahu, who is the premier of Israel, by phone to congratulate him, and French President Emmanuel Macron said Sinwar's death provided a chance for the year-long conflict in Gaza to end and for peace to be brought home. Now, as far as Donald Trump came to the Bronx yesterday to get a haircut at a barbershop on Castle Hill Avenue for the Al Smith dinner. So in the race for president, is Donald Trump in the lead or is Kamala Harris in the lead, as polls have said? Now, Georgia had its first day of early voting on Tuesday and broke records with 328,000 ballots cast, double the number of votes cast on the same day in 2020, which was 136,000 votes. The national lead that Harris had enjoyed has been shrinking, meaning that the race is getting tighter as weeks go by. A new poll reveals while most Latino voters support Harris, independent and rural Latinos are leaning towards Trump. In a ABC Ipsen poll, Harris is leading by just 2 points, 49-47. In that same poll in September, she had a 4-point lead. The ABC poll not only had a smaller showing lead for Harris, it is possible that Republican VP candidate J.D. Vance, more moderate and measurable debate performance, has garnered Trump some support from voters who are on the fence. One key issue is the current state of the economy. The poll shows that 59% of Americans believe the U.S. economy is getting worse. Trump remains the overall favorite for who is trusted in the economy better handle the economy better with 46% of the voters favoring Trump, with Harris getting only 38%. The latest set of swing state polls from Emerson College has Trump leading in 4 of the 7 swing states and Harris leading in just 1. The polls have neither candidate leading by more than 2 points in any battleground state, meaning that just 2 weeks before the election, the race is still too close to call. Trump is now leading by a hair in Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, the candidates are tied in Michigan, where Harris previously seemed to be leading, and in Wisconsin. In Arizona, for example, there does not appear to be a significant distinction between how men and women are voting, but in all other swing states, there's a noticeable gender divide. In Georgia, where Harris enjoys a 12-point lead among women, Trump has a 12-point lead among men. Regardless of political affiliation, as I said, the economy is the most important issue impacting how people will vote at this election. Abortion is considered second at 37% of the vote, followed by immigration at 34%. In a new poll by pollster Nate Silva for The Hill today, the race remains essentially a toss-up. The Silva poll has Trump now ahead by less than 1 percentage point, 50.2% to 49.5% for Harris, again, as of yesterday afternoon. Let's go into some other items, because this year marks 25 years since Chuck Schumer first entered the U.S. Senate. Governor Kathy Hochul said New York City will get about 71,000 new homes, including 21,000 affordable units, thanks to the extension of the deadline of New York's controversial 421A affordable housing tax break. So who needs a city yes for housing? Hochul wants to persuade New Yorkers that the state is getting safer on her watch. The governor yesterday pointed to a year-over-year drop in violent crime, including a 26% drop in shootings outside of New York City. Now, notice New York City was not mentioned. It's outside of New York City. Governor Hochul offered support for embattled New York City Mayor Eric Adams during the Columbus Day Parade in Manhattan on Monday. She told him to bring in new blood. He's doing that, and he's working well through the chaos, she said. But it's rarely been so unclear who the next mayor will be when the incumbent is running for re-election. Given Adams' indictment and the swirling field of challenges and others who might jump in if there's a special election, the future leadership of the city is anybody's guess. Less than 3 years after Adams touted him as a visionary leader of the public school system, New York City Schools Chancellor David Banks made his quiet exit Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, New York City public school system got a new leader, Melissa Aviles Ramos, who is well known as a veteran of the public school system with deep ties to the Bronx and immigrant communities. Now, the number of migrant children arriving in the state without an adult is soaring, with nearly 7,000 kids now showing up solo in New York City every year, according to records revealed at a city council hearing Tuesday. And according to a report from the New York City Department of Investigation, several nonprofits the city pays to run its network of homeless shelters have funneled taxpayer dollars to their executives and family members, which leads us to an obscure unit overseeing the city's property transactions, which has seen a burst of activity since Mayor Adams has taken office. And the mayor's close friend who oversees the unit is in the crosshairs of yet another investigation hitting Adams' inner circle. In addition to buying and selling and renting public and private space, the real estate division at the Citywide Administrative Services has helped ink agreements for migrant families that have become a major part of the city's social network. It's also spearheading a massive plan to downsize the city's 22 million square foot commercial office footprint, which will require negotiations with private landlords. To oversee that unit, the mayor turned to his longtime friend and protege, Jesse Hamilton, who was made Deputy Commissioner of Real Estate Services in December 2022. Now Hamilton and some of the lease transactions inked by his office are subject to a corruption probe. Agents from Manhattan District Attorney's Office seized Hamilton's phone and that of a mayoral advisor, Ingrid Lewis Martin, and a private commercial broker who works with Hamilton when the three returned from a group trip to Japan that included other city employees and a lobbyist. It is unclear what transactions caught the eye of DA Bragg, and Hamilton has not been accused yet of any wrongdoing. The scrutiny into his position comes after Hamilton consolidated power to the low-profile real estate unit that deals with a ton of money and influential honchos. Hamilton has instructed more departments to reevaluate their office needs. Hamilton also plays a pivotal role in vetting and hashing out agreements for shelter asylum seekers who have been arriving here in the city in droves since the spring of 2022. Public schedule obtained by Politico through a Freedom of Information Law request shows Hamilton met with a top mayoral aide tasked with migrant contracts 3 times this year to discuss asylum seekers and the siting of humanitarian emergency relief and response centers. That official was Timothy Pearson, and another close friend and confidant of Adams, who had his phone seized by law enforcement before being forced out earlier this month. Now, let's get to where the money went. The Bronx Democratic Party, which helps elect Democratic candidates across Northwest Bronx, has failed to disclose more than $400,000 in contributions over the past 4 years, in apparent violation of campaign finance law. A New York Focus review found that the state Democratic Assembly Campaign Committee, chaired by Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz, transferred the funds over a dozen installments, yet those contributions never appeared on the Bronx Party's paperwork. It is unclear what the Bronx Democrats used the money for. The heavily Democratic borough rarely sees a competitive general election, and the county party has not reported large expenses in recent years. Neither the Bronx Party nor Assembly Campaign Committee nor Bronx Party Chair Jamal Bailey responded to requests for comment to New York Focus at the time of the writing of this article. The Democratic Assembly County Committee transferred the funds in 23 installments, ranging from $15,000 to $50,000, beginning in April 2020, and continuing through June 2024. The committee's choice to invest heavily in the Bronx is odd given the lack of competitive elections in the borough. Every assemblyman is currently represented borough is a Democrat, and the Bronx is generally one of the most heavily Democratic counties in the country. As the money has flowed to the Bronx Democratic Party, Democratic Assembly members have lost ground elsewhere in the state. In November 2022, the last statewide election cycle, Republicans unseated several longtime Democratic incumbents and gained 5 assembly seats. In the months leading up to that election, Democratic Assembly Campaign Committee sent nearly $200,000 to the Bronx Democrats, while also spending several $1 million bolstering Democratic Assembly members in competitive elections. But some threatened Democrats received no support from the committee. Former Assemblyman Stephen Engelbright, a Democrat of Suffolk County, was defeated by Republican Edward Flood by less than 1,000 votes. Engelbright told New York Focus that he requested support from the Democratic Assembly Committee. And I'm off. I'm back. Okay. That was a little mistake on my part. I can't remember I remember putting in a phone call and there was some conversations, but the conversation didn't materialize into action. He said, I really didn't have any clear understanding of why the communication seemed to be so difficult. He didn't blame the committee for losing his seat, though, instead attributing his loss to a perfect storm in an anemic Long Island campaign from Governor Kathy Hochul and a Republican gubernatorial candidate, Lee Zeldin, who hailed from Suffolk County. Despite hundreds of thousands of dollars it apparently has received, financial disclosure statements show the Bronx Democratic Party spent less than $75,000 since 2020, mostly on campaign consultants. That was from a New York Focus article Tuesday. Now, today, Politico reports that the Bronx Democratic Party has filed and amended more than a dozen campaign finance reports in the last week to reflect hundreds of thousands of dollars previously unreported contributions and expenses, including donations from both the Yankees and a pharmaceutical lobbying group. Since October 10th, the party bean counters filed 7 required reports for the first time and amended 7 others, according to the State Board of Elections. The flurry of activity was in response to a New York Focus story that the party hadn't been reporting getting more than $400,000 in donations from Speaker Hasty's Democratic Assembly Campaign Committee, chaired by Riverdale Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz. It was inaccurate record keeping, there was administrative issues, and we rectified it, Bronx Dems leader Jamal Bailey, a state senator, said, "Going forward, we will continue to be mindful and ensure that records are updated and compiled in a proper manner." The new report shows that the Democratic Assembly Campaign Committee at the party's main funding source, and the party then spends on the expenses like campaign mailers, consultant payments, and Uber rides and dinners. Let's go to dinner, Jamal, on the Bronx Democratic Party. But the party failed at basic financial transparency for years. Newly amended reports showed initially did not report major contributions in 2023, like $25,000 from the Yankees, $10,000 from pharmaceutical industrial group Pharma. Mets owner Steve Cohen, who was trying to build support for a casino, also gave the party $15,000 in June that should have been divulged at the semi-annual filing due in July, but the party didn't file until October 15th. It's unlikely the party will face penalties. Late filings are common, and law and enforcement from the Board of Elections is severely lacking. Committees that do get investigated typically are not fined and go ahead and file even years late. There's nothing nefarious. Bailey said, "We're not stealing, we're not embezzling money, we're not spending it on bullshit. It's for party building, and the records reflect it." Before I leave, there's two items I really wanted to get into. One is about Councilman Raphael Salamanca, who is running for borough president, and he has outraised her. He has $466,000 on hand. To current borough president Vanessa Gibson, $59,000. This is the second time Salamanca is running for borough president. He first ran in 2021, but ultimately dropped out to focus on his city council re-election campaign. He is now term limited and has announced he is running for borough president. Lastly, I want to talk about Community Board 11, and it'll take about 2 minutes. After a dysfunctional year by Community Board 11, the last board year, the board has a new chair, but things seem to be more dysfunctional as the new board year begins. At the August executive board meeting called by new chair Cynthia Rodriguez, her first sentence was, "We cannot take any action because the agenda did not get up in time." In September, having quorum at committee meetings was a problem. At the first committee meeting of the Sanitation and Environment Committee did not have a quorum. In October, the E&S Committee had a quorum and elected a new chair of the committee. The next night, the chair of the Education Committee announced that she was leaving the board. The following week, the Transportation and Health Committees met and had quorum, but the Housing Committee had only the chair of the committee in the board office as co-chair in her car driving with no other member of the committee to be found. The Parks Committee meeting was canceled night after the Housing Committee meeting, and no agenda had been posted. Going into the next week, which is this week, the Public Safety Committee meeting had the acting chair, who will be leaving the board after election. His election to the judgeship, and the captain of the 49th precinct was in the board office, and I guess, well, as were two of his police officers, but other members of the Public Safety Committee were nowhere to be found. And I guess that's it. So let me say goodbye if I'm still on the air, and thank you for watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official launch of the Bronx Post, your premier source for news and information in the Bronx. As the CEO of Muslim Media Corporation, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Bronx Post, our latest endeavor dedicated to serving the vibrant and diverse community of the Bronx.
Oftentimes, mainstream media portray this county in the most negative way possible, all because Bronx continued to be judged in the 70s and 80s when Bronx was burning. Today, as we enter the small business month of 2024, Muslim Media Corporation is proud to announce the formation and the creation and establishment of a new newspaper that will cover the entire Bronx, continue to highlight the new Bronx, the new realities and the new developments and the new attributes of the Bronx. Some things that are not being covered by, again, our mainstream media. Bronx Post, the first county-wide newspaper to be published by Muslim Media Corporation that has already been publishing Parkchester Times.
We aim to be your trusted source for information. We believe in the power of journalism to inform, inspire, and unite communities. With the Bronx Post, we seek to amplify the voice of Bronxites, celebrate the richness of our
Keep watching the politics.